Hey guys, welcome back to the Snapring Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another Ratchet video. And this one's a bit of a blast from the past. Something a little bit rare, I guess. You don't see these around too much anymore. It's a Plomb half-inch drive Ratchet. And it's model number 5451. And this is old Plomb because it's Plomb, Los Angeles. And as we know, Plomb is the predecessor to Proto. I was going to say modern day Proto, but there's been a lot of mergers and acquisitions since when Plomb turned into Proto, so it's hard to say. As it stands now, I think Stanley is the one that owns Proto, and for the most part, I think they're still made in the U.S. So that's a good thing about that. But like I said, many mergers and acquisitions along the way, but back in the day, when you had Proto Los Angeles also. Here's Plomb Los Angeles. Plomb Los Angeles, it's like the 30s, mid 30s, early to mid 30s. Plomb Proto Los Angeles was like late 40s to mid 50s, something like that. I can be wrong, but this one has the old date code. It's 6F, and 6 stands for 1936. So this is a pretty early Plomb Ratchet from 1936, and it kind of screams at you industrial. It looks very no nonsense. There isn't much to it. Looks pretty beefy and strong. The knurling is pretty long. The knurling goes like almost reaches the head of the ratchet. It goes from here all the way down. And the knurling's pretty good. It's pretty aggressive. You can see here it's kind of, there's good spacing in between the knurling. And whoever had this took care of his tools, because there's very little rust. There's some little spotty rust on it. But from 1936 until now, not too bad. I don't think these had a coating also. I think they were just plain steel, no chrome, no nickel, no cadmium. I think in this stage of the game, Plomb was, I think, just using just metal, just the bare steel. And here we have the offside and the onside, and this is, it only goes one way. It only goes one way, and you want it to be on. This is the on side. If you want it off on this side, you have to push the anvil through, and the anvil does not come out. I know in a lot of these push through anvil type ones, ratchets, they'll have like a separate piece as the anvil. This anvil actually is pinned. You see the pin in there? It's pinned, and it has a groove there that keeps it attached to the gear, so it's not a separate piece. And there's the two screws, and let's open it up to see what's inside. Yeah. It's very well grooved. Here's the screw. The grooves go all the way from the top all the way through, so it takes a little bit to unscrew it. It isn't just like a couple of threads and it's out. This one, they threaded it pretty good. I guess they didn't want it to come out. So I'm still turning, still turning, still turning, still turning, and now it comes out. And these are the screws. Okay, we take the plate off, and the plate, it doesn't sit in anything. It just the plate is the same. It shares the same edge as the ratchet head itself, and it comes off like that. And this is the plate. Looks okay. Looks decently thick plate. And here's the gear mechanism. Very simple, not much to this. You might want to hold down this pawl here because it's spring loaded. And that's that. Let's look at the gear. Gear looks pretty beefy. That's the pin that they drove down into that groove to hold the anvil in place so it doesn't come out. This gear is pretty big, has pretty big teeth. I think there are 32 teeth in this gear, which for its time, the mid-30s, that's not too coarse. There were other ratchets in this period that had like 20 something teeth. So for over 30 teeth, it's I wouldn't call it fine tooth, but it had pretty good amount of teeth. Okay, here is the paw. Just one piece on the paw, and this is what it looks like. And it rides like that, and it ratchets like that, I think. Wait a minute. Well, when I put it back together, I'll show you how it ratchets. But yeah, that's what the paw looks like, and that's underneath, and on the sides, and on the back. And the last piece is the spring. It's kind of one of these oval. Is that an oval? Yeah, I guess so. It's like one of these oval style of springs. And it isn't too tight. So it's not, it has very little back drag, this ratchet, which is good. And the spring, you can tell, doesn't add to the back drag because it's pretty springy and kind of light. And here's the broaching. The broaching, I don't know, seems okay. There's a lot of striation here, a lot of lines that weren't smoothed out. They dropped the plate on it and nobody was the wiser on it. But you can see how they did the broaching here. They kind of dropped it here and then did a line here for the spring and pawl. It's like little tick marks there. Maybe somebody used this as a hammer at one time or to do something. I'm not sure what those little ticks are. But yeah, that's so look, and you see See how far see how deep those threads are. They go all the way from there all the way through to the back. So they threaded it pretty good. Here's the side, here's the little here's the cutout for where the plate sits in. And to put this back together, it's pretty simple. Just take your spring, you drop that in the hole there, and you take your pawl. Just not to be confused, when you take it out, kind of remember how it was oriented. So if you want to put it back in, you put it back in, in the right orientation. Because I guess you can put it in backwards also, like that, because it'll fit in there like that. And you might not want to do that, but it will fit in there backwards, and you'll have problems in the ratcheting. Okay, and I pull, hold it down there, and drop the gear in. Okay. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's ratcheting. Alright, and you put your plate back on. Take your screws, screw them back in. And this is the one ratchet where I would say, if you want to over tighten this, maybe it wouldn't hurt it as much as other ratchets because of all those threads. I doubt that if you went too crazy, you strip them out, but who knows. But there you go. That's the Plomb 5451 ratchet. Has a nice light back drag, and this one goes back to, according to date code, goes back all the way to 1936. Alright guys, that's all I got for now. Until next time.